If the thought leaders in the Democratic Party keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe and the people who run Gaza are great, the Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party.
I used to believe that the DNC's dissatisfaction stemmed solely from Trump's administration. I was mistaken. Maher presented startling data that showed how deeply concerned Democrats are about the nation, and it was enlightening. It might be expected to hear it from a conservative, but from a liberal, it was therefore even more potent. Let's get started.
1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual, because you have no perspective. Is America perfect? No, of course not. No country is. But the U.S. is leagues ahead of the rest of the world on most of the progressive issues that are important to young people. America has 14 million women-owned businesses. 17% of black women are starting businesses, which is faster than white women or white men. Gay Americans are free to marry, and 49% of them own property. Yes, in America, gays buy buildings.
Now, Maher started out by contrasting the United States with the nations that many liberals frequently extol, especially those in the Arab world. He pointed out that the majority of these countries hardly resemble democracies. Women are prohibited from voting, driving, and operating companies in many places, restrictions that would be unimaginable in the United States. He also emphasized the significant restrictions on LGBTQ+ rights, which frequently prevent homosexual and transgender people from living freely or traveling securely. There are severe restrictions on the right to free speech, and contempt can have dire repercussions. Maher urged viewers to consider why certain liberals so fervently defend these nations while denouncing the rights and freedoms that characterize America by highlighting these differences. His goal was to elicit introspection, refute presumptions, and start a more in-depth discussion about priorities and values.
Mobilize the Intifada is the catchphrase that's really catching on these days. At an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, this is not a symbol of freedom. This is.
However, many parents are now reluctant to tell children the whole truth after years of instilling in them a mistrust, criticism, and even hatred of America. This propaganda has a broad impact on social media, educational institutions, political discussions, and cultural narratives. How many times have politicians on the left publicly denounced the country, highlighting its shortcomings while downplaying its chances and liberties? They find it challenging to take the stage and give a fair assessment, emphasizing the freedoms, rights, and accomplishments that set America apart because of this ongoing framing. It takes honesty, bravery, and a willingness to confront deeply rooted narratives to persuade impressionable youth that the nation they have been taught to doubt is also a place of opportunity, boldness, and innovation.
Thought leaders in the Democratic Party keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe and the people who run Gaza are great. The Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party. Last election, it was all the gender stuff, the insistence that men can have babies and such, and now I fear that we like the terrorists is the new that. Liberals need to push back on the dumb ideas that come from their children.
Maher was unrelenting in his criticism of liberals for what he perceives to be faulty priorities. He maintained that they frequently overlook the most pressing challenges facing the country in favor of symbolic or unimportant ones. He claimed that the election loss from the previous year was largely caused by this misalignment. While discussions about things like guys getting pregnant attracted media attention and inspired activist groups, they neglected to address matters like border security, national security, and the economy that are really important to the majority of Americans. According to Maher, the left alienated middle-class voters and gave their opponents an advantage by emphasizing cultural war flashpoints over pragmatic issues. He emphasized that rather than getting bogged down in ideological disagreements that, although obvious, frequently seem unimportant to the majority of voters, rebuilding public confidence necessitates addressing the actual everyday problems individuals experience.
The Democrats' problem is the energy of the party is with the young and the young are with the terrorists. That's not good. So talk to your children and remind them you don't really want to live like your heroes in Hamas. All the you do all day, it was all made in America. Your smartphone, your Grubhub, your freedom to about America, that's all American stuff. You tell your phone you want a milkshake and a guy brings it to your house. Please, you couldn't survive a week living in Intifadaville.
Younger generations must face the terrible reality of living in the nations they so frequently admire. According to Maher, all too frequently, tales that portray these countries as ideal or progressive are selectively highlighted by left-leaning media, highlighting a few achievements while disregarding pervasive authoritarianism, limited freedoms, and violations of human rights. Because of this, young people only see the portion of these civilizations that are presented to them. Without this critical viewpoint, Maher emphasized, they wind up promoting goals that are more theoretical than realistic. Young Americans can better appreciate the freedoms and democracy they enjoy at home and grasp what makes those liberties genuinely precious by learning about the realities of limited rights, restricted expression, gender inequity, and systematic repression abroad.
The most beautiful symbol of freedom. When the people of Hong Kong stood up to China, they waved the American flag. Why? Because it's not just a beautiful flag. It is a symbol of hope and liberty. Today's divide in America, sadly, is not just about taxes or policy. The left resents this country. They're willing to embrace regimes that hate women, Christians, basic freedoms, because they share one thing: a hatred for America. Don't ever apologize for being proud of this country. You have a moral duty to be.
No one should be ashamed of America, since it has long been a global beacon of opportunity, freedom, and hope. At U.S. embassies and consulates, people from all over the world frequently stand in long lines and pay exorbitant fees for the opportunity to reside in a nation that provides chances and rights not found anywhere else. Indeed, there are problems, flaws, and sporadic political upheaval in the United States. However, it continues to surpass other countries in terms of freedom, economic opportunity, and the defense of individual rights. Millions of people risk everything in the United States to be able to vote fearlessly, establish a business, pursue education, and speak freely. America is still one of the best countries in the world and a shining example for anyone looking for a better life despite its shortcomings.
To be an immigrant, I'm going to guess he's a legal immigrant. And that's the type of American you can be really, really proud of. And that's the type of people that we want here. Someone who loves this place, who understands this place, who doesn't want to come here and fundamentally alter it the way Zorhan Flamflami does. It's different. It's different. And we better really start understanding that. Do you think that Welch chick really loves America? Or does she want to burn it down? What do you think the Hamas guy over there wants to do? Or the Batman villain, or the rest of them? I mean, they tell you all the time, right? You don't have to believe me. Go see. You know, we always check it every year. Go see what they post on Memorial Day, or on Labor Day, or on Thanksgiving. And they never post an appreciation for this country. They never step back. Ilhan Omar should wake up every morning and get on her knees and look up at the flag and thank this country for taking her out of Somalia. But instead, she has come here to burn it.
That is accurate. Many immigrants are welcomed and go on to become model citizens when they come to the United States with humility, respect, and a willingness to contribute. They honor the nation that provided them with possibilities while embracing the liberties that America has to offer by working hard, abiding by the law, and subtly improving their own and their families' lives. However, it's also true that different immigrants have different goals. Some people question the country's laws, customs, and ideals in ways that could compromise its fundamental beliefs. Because even a small minority can produce friction and mistrust, it is critical to distinguish between individuals who want to improve society and those whose actions put it in danger. Americans can preserve the principles that have long made this nation unique by valuing the contributions of law-abiding immigrants while continuing to be watchful for harmful behavior.
Democrats need to get their together, because we need two parties in this country, and we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch out democratic rule of law for a rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing to me symbolized that more than this video. Why do I say that? Well, let me put it this way. I don't know for a fact that this couple are Democrats. I just know it's true.
Based on their expressions when the kiss camera focused on them, Maher noted that the two appeared democratic. They attempted to conceal right away, possibly out of dread of being discovered. He maintained that the party's inability to deal with extreme woke viewpoints inside its own ranks is reflected in this conduct. Few Democrats are willing to speak up, despite the fact that many of them are aware that certain cultural and policy positions are harming their reputation and turning off voters. Why? Even when they perceive the harm in private, they remain silent out of fear of rejection or social retribution. Maher presented this as a structural issue rather than a human shortcoming. The party finds it difficult to strike a balance between idealism and pragmatism. Democrats run the danger of losing the very supporters they need to stay competitive if they ignore internal criticism.
I knew they were Democrats for the same reason I knew this was a Democrat. You can't hide from the kiss cam, and you can't hide in the Oval Office. Damn, if only the lady at the Coldplay concert had brought some folders with her, maybe she wouldn't be in hot water today. Now, am I saying that only Democrats run and hide? But Democrats seem to be afraid of everything. They were petrified of COVID, masking 2-year-olds who never would have died from it and keeping schools closed for far too long. They're definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. Their kids, thinking up stupid what they do.
Maher wonders why some parents appear to be so afraid of their own kids. Nowadays, a lot of homes let children make decisions that obviously belong to adults and even ask them for their opinions on topics that are well beyond of their expertise. Maher contends that this tendency is reinforced by social media, films, and television programs, which frequently depict kids as knowing beyond their years or as the ultimate authority in family problems. Letting kids control the household has major repercussions, despite the fact that it may initially appear innocuous or even progressive. Homes with hazy boundaries, uneven discipline, and a lack of respect for authority may result from it. Maher emphasizes that children need discipline, supervision, and clear boundaries rather than the full weight of parental obligations in order to develop into competent, well-adjusted individuals.
But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please.
Maher contends that the Democratic Party's acceptance and unwavering support of extreme woke stances is the root of many of its current political problems. The party doubled down on cultural and ideological agendas that, although appealing to a vocal minority, alienated a huge segment of the larger electorate rather than changing course when it became evident that these positions were costing them support. Democrats frequently disregarded danger flags, putting ideology ahead of pragmatism. Recent electoral defeats were directly caused by their inability to adjust. Maher highlights that achieving political success necessitates striking a balance between fundamental values and voters' practical interests. Democrats created circumstances that made electoral failures nearly unavoidable by prioritizing symbols and internal politics above the actual problems facing Americans. This concludes the video for today. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more similar material.